Hopefully everybody can see my screen now. Okay, so as described in the emails, we have an application that we call LISA, Languages, Emotions, Interpreting Services Application. It's quite a long name, so we had to come up with something a little bit shorter. Am I not switching? Sorry guys, not sure why there we go. You have the touch. All right, so what LISA is a web-based platform that also has a smartphone app, because everything does, and why not? It provides you access to on-demand video and phone interpreters. The phone interpreters you can reach in less than 60 seconds, 24/7, 365. On demand is a little bit different. Currently, we're operating 6 a.m. to about 10 p.m. For video, sorry. That's what sorry guys. For video, we're currently operating about 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., but we're adding languages all the time, extending hours all the time. And as well, you're still going to be able to schedule your on-site interpreters. I know that's what most people are used to using. So it's a great application to be able to access all of those solutions. All right, so we'll start with on-site interpreting, since that's what most people are familiar with. What you would do is you would actually sign in to the platform. It's just username, password, and you can see the picture here. That's what you're going to see. Sorry guys, I'm not sure. I need to turn my screen advancing off. All right, so you're going to be able to create a new appointment. It's extremely similar to what people have been doing. If you've been using our website or even sending in an email, it's going to want all of the same details. The really great thing about it is it's very quick. It'll take you about 2 minutes to fill out what exactly you need. You'll be able to see all of your appointments, whether they've been scheduled, whether they've been completed, if they're still waiting for an interpreter. So it's a great place to go for updates. You don't have to spend the time sending an email or making a phone call. Of course, we'd love to hear from you if that's what you want to do. We just don't want you to have to take the time to do these things. So moving on, we're now offering on-demand telephone. So as I mentioned earlier, you can reach an interpreter in less than 60 seconds. You're able to use the online app, sorry guys, the online app, a landline, or the web-based platform. So if you're having a meeting where there's going to be quite a few people, you have all those different options, whatever's going to work best for you. Extremely easy. If you're going to use your smartphone, you would download the app. You would simply choose the language, choose the specialist, and what this means, we'll go over it later, but just quickly for you guys, it would be legal, certified, or non-certified, and then you would just press the call button, and that's it. It takes about 20 seconds, really. We'll go over later how to do the landline. Again, extremely simple, and with the web-based browser, you just wouldn't have to download the app. You would just sign in, and that's that. It looks the same on both platforms, so you don't have to get used to, things looking differently and how to do it one way and not the other. It looks the same whether you do it on your smartphone or you do it on the computer. All right, so video remote, it's the exact same as the OPI. You would open the platform, whether it's on your computer or on your smartphone. You would choose the language. Again, you would choose the specialist, which for you would be legal, certified, or non-certified, and then you would just simply press the video button. It looks the exact same as the OPI, so the only difference is whether you're choosing video or call. This is a great option for, ASL, of course, meetings, kind of doctor's appointments if some of you are doing independent medical exams. It's a good option rather than traveling an interpreter to Fort McMurray or something like that. All right. So now we get to the landline and three-way calling. So as I mentioned earlier, the over-the-phone interpreting can be done web-based, smartphone, or you can just use a regular standard landline. All you would do is call into a number, put your PIN in so that you can track who it is that's using it at your firm, choose your language, and you would be connected. The great thing about this is you can actually make three-way calls. So if you want to talk to a client, let's say you want to schedule a client, you can bring an interpreter into that phone call. It takes 20, 30 seconds to do so, to go through the steps. It looks a little funny because you see that there's a bill dial number, call from your phone, enter PIN, but we'll go into the web-based platform after and I'll show you where all that information lies. It's actually very simple. All right, so I did touch on this earlier, and this is the interpreter categories. You might not know that this is already being used when you schedule an on-site interpreter, or if you've scheduled a phone interpretation with us before. Our interpreters are either general interpreters in certain categories or they're specialized interpreters in certain categories. For you guys, it's most likely going to fall under legal and sometimes medical. But you do have the option of corporate, court, business, all things that I know you would come across in your firms and practices. And it's just a quick, easy drop-down menu. And we actually will have your account set up so that it will default to a legal interpreter, and you have the option to change it. All right. So where can you use Lisa? Again, I've kind of touched on this a few times. The places that we see law firms using it is at reception. You know, if you have a client calling in to schedule an appointment and perhaps they have English skills, but they aren't as, you know, as good as we would like them to be able to make sure that they're understanding what we're saying, the receptionist can pull in can do the three-way phone call, or if somebody shows up at her desk, she can quickly call an interpreter right on the line, on her landline, pull it up on the speakerphone. Assessment and discovery, you know, on-site interpreting is always preferred, but as we know in Alberta, we can't always find every language in every area that we want to use them. So the phone and video come in extremely handy here. I can save you a lot of money in travel costs as well. You're only paying for the time you use. So, you know, we don't have to make assumptions about entire days or 2 days. And lastly, court hearings, of course. If there's anything else that you guys think that you could use this for, I'd love to hear the feedback, how it works on your end, what things look like on your end. Otherwise, that's what we think. So as I mentioned repeatedly, this is a web-based platform. It allows you to, as you can see, you're going to have a dashboard. You're going to have complete ability to see everything about your account. You're going to see how much money you've spent. You're going to see where you spent the money, what languages you spent the money. It's great for your accounting departments. It's great for assistants to be able to jump in and just check what's going on. And I'm going to give you an overview of that very shortly here. So, as I just mentioned, some of the added benefits of having this platform is that you can choose an administrator. A lot of firms choose their office manager or one of the legal assistants to kind of oversee this. What that means is the administrator can invite users, has the ability to see everybody's appointments and everybody's spending, whereas a regular user will only see their own appointments and their own spending. The administrator can actually download and export logs, so can provide these to accounting on your own accounting schedule, can have knowledge of exactly what the cost is going to be if you're billing it out to a third party. You can do that right away, no month-long wait for an invoice. You can add third-party billing information into the files, and the administrator can also create consumer profiles. So if you have a client that you think is going to use interpreters quite often, you can actually create a profile for that client so that it will lessen how much information the assistant needs to fill out at the time. And of course, we have to touch on all the legal stuff, right? We are compliant, as you can see, in everything here. If anybody has any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us. Otherwise, that is my little overview of what Lisa is. So I'd love to show it to you guys, but I will take a second, and if anybody has any questions, if I've gone over anything too quickly or not gone over something, please feel free to send me a question. I'll do my best to answer it. All right, so I don't see anything coming in. I'm just going to get out of here. Let's show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm in just one of our test clients here, so there isn't a lot of data to see. But when you sign in, this is what you're going to see. You're going to have an overview. You can make a few changes on this screen, not too much. We don't want it to be too overwhelming for you. But you can see how many calls have been made. You can see the completed appointments. You can sort it. And that's that. On the left here, you're going to be able to see what's coming up. So we have one that's scheduled. So we can click on that and it'll bring us right into the appointment so that we can see what's going on. I can check and I can see that all the information's right. I can see who the interpreter is. I can look at the activities on the file to see if anything has changed. I can check the billing, what this is going to cost me, and the documents. So this is a really great one. You can actually upload documents that you want the interpreter to review prior to attending. So if you have consent forms or, or anything really, something for discovery that you want to make sure that the interpreter is going to be able to fully explain, you can upload it here. Then, of course, you can print it out if you wanted to give it to a third party, or if you're keeping paper files, you can actually print this all out. You do have the ability to talk to us, to send us messages, as well as to send the interpreter a message. You can add a note here to the file, decide who you want to chat with. That way it's all logged. We can choose additional information here. So really very, very useful. Again, trying to save you guys some time and having to call us or email us and have all that back and forth going on. The great thing here, this is also what the interpreter is seeing, so you can actually confirm the location is correct. The map has pulled it in. Now, if I wanted to edit this appointment, because, sometimes things happen, sometimes times change, or, more hours are going to be needed, I just hit edit. It brings me back to the original form that I filled out, and I can go ahead and make any changes that I need. So we're going to schedule, for 2. Update. Oh, I guess I missed a required field. Oh. All right, so there you go. I can update my appointments. Everybody will be updated, will be updated, you'll be updated, the interpreter will be updated. So that's a scheduled appointment. If you want to start off scheduling, all you're going to do is go over here and click appointments. You're going to create a new appointment. You have an appointment type. Follow-up, again, as I mentioned, if you have a client that's going to use quite a bit, you would choose that it's a follow-up. And this is a nice part. Assistants can request on behalf of a lawyer. So that way it's still being tracked to the lawyer rather than to the assistant. And the interpreter knows if they're showing up at a different location than yours, who they're actually looking to meet when they get to that location. You can put a file number in, should you so choose, for your own tracking. And you can put a subject in. So we're going to say court hearing. We can put some notes in should we need to. We're going to choose our languages. And as I mentioned earlier, the service delivery, it has automatically chosen legal. When the account was set up, that was the choice that was made as the default. But if I wanted to change it, which I'm going to, it's very easy. We do have a gender preference. We know that sometimes that's required. Then we have a communication type. So again, we can be scheduling for on-site, we can schedule a telephone, and we can schedule video interpreting. I'm going to choose on-site. Go ahead and choose a date. My duration I can change easy enough in 15-minute increments. If I was scheduling something for a client that I'm going to be seeing on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, I could actually schedule a reoccurring appointment and only fill it out one time, which is nice. The location, let's say Courthouse, Calgary, there we go. On-site contact name. So if the interpreter is going to be meeting with an adjuster or a different lawyer, whoever it is, you can put that information there. We do love to have a contact phone number because sometimes it's hard to find people. And then we also need the name of the person who we're going to be interpreting for. So let's say, if we had a consumer profile already created, this is where we would choose it or create it. How many interpreters we need, and if there's any notes for PM. So that's the Languages in Motion Project Manager. Otherwise, we save it. My appointment's created. And now I'm just waiting for an interpreter to go ahead and accept that. As soon as that happens, an email will be sent letting you know that an interpreter is on the file, and you can go in and see all the details of that interpreter. So here is where we can do some of our reports and things like that, but that's something we can go into more depth as we set up your accounts. And then we have configuration. This is important because this is where you're going to go ahead and you're going to, you can put your picture in, your contact information, and as well, you're going to be able to retrieve your PIN number. You're going to use this PIN number for making landline phone calls. So important to have. You can generate a new PIN number. We can do what is called build dial numbers. So if we know that you're going to always be, speaking with somebody who speaks French, we can go ahead and set it up for you so that it's a little bit quicker to make those phone calls. And there we go. So that would be the number you would call, the PIN you would put in, and the language service number. So you don't have to look this up every time. Since I'm the administrator, I can go ahead and I can change some different settings in here. I can choose languages that I know I'm going to use very often, specialties I'm going to use very often. We call these quick dials. And again, it's a very quick way for you to use the landline or the app on your phone or the web-based one. what ends up happening is when you call into the phone number, you just choose 1 for Spanish, 4 for Korean. So again, when we have predictable languages, it's really easy to do this, cut down on the time you guys are spending. As well, I can add in third-party billing, locations, things like that. I'm able to manage consumers and see everybody's consumers. I'm able to look at the rates, but most importantly, I am able to see all of the users as well as invite new users. All I have to do is put their email in, click add, they'll be sent an invitation to join. Once they have joined, their status will show as enabled. Until they've joined, it will show as invited. They have 24 hours to accept the invitation. If they don't accept it, it's very easy. You come back in and you just click resend invitation. Generally, invitations tend to go to the spam folder, so we suggest letting people know that. As well, I can make other administrators, if I'm going to be on vacation or whatever it is, maybe you want to have every legal assistant be an administrator, you're able to do that as well. All right, so now we're going to open what it looks like to make an on-demand and video call. It looks the exact same whether you're doing it here or you're doing it from your smartphone. So as I mentioned, we're going to pick a language that we're going to interpret into, click it, choose phone or video, and that's it. Press call. Very, very simple. Again, I do have the ability to change this if I decide I need something different than what's showing. I can change my preferences here. If my native language has changed, or, well, not changed, but if I want to do it differently, I can also check my schedule, telephone, and video phone calls. Any questions? No questions? Oh my goodness, I did that well. Oh, sorry, I do see one that says can't. Not quite sure what that means. Do you want to try and resend that to me? All right. So it doesn't look like we have any questions. Michael, do you think there's anything I missed? Anything you want to add?
I think you did a great job. I think that one of the questions that we commonly get is how are we filtering interpreters? Who's going on this platform? And how do we guarantee the quality? Because that's a big deal. You know, we've been in the business for about 8 years, and there's a consistent question for, you know, who are these interpreters, and who's answering the phone, who's going in on site. So for on-site interpreters in Calgary and Edmonton, Alberta, we've actually met the majority of the professionals here. So if you've been working with a specific professional, the chances of us actually having them on the platform is very high. We work with the majority of the top talent here in Alberta. So so that's a relief if you've been working with an interpreter. Chances are that we already have them on the platform. However, we do look for the interpreters that are certified, so court certified, legal certified, or accredited. We work with them. There's a minimum requirement for our interpreters to be on the platform, and that is that they have to have some training and education or have a certification. So there's that. For phone interpreting, so we have a minimum requirement of community interpreting and, of course, certification in legal or or court for them to be able to answer the phone in that regard. So there is actually on our website, under the terms and conditions, we actually do go through the screening process for our interpreters. They all sign a code of ethics. There's a terms of engagement, and excuse me, there's a confidentiality piece in their subcontractor agreement. So they are very well screened, and we are obviously open to feedback, and it kind of gives us the a benefit of working with another company as opposed to booking somebody directly, because we're continually striving to have the best service. As our name is on the line, we want to make sure that we have the best people all the time. So you can kind of rest assured that you're always going to have the best interpreters, and if there's any issues, we quickly notify our team and make sure that there's a replacement there. So really open to feedback and really continually trying to help you out. Any other questions here?
I don't see anything else.
All right. I can come up with another one that we usually get. So a lot of the times people will ask us, what's the pricing like? And actually we have a very easy to understand price list that we can send to you. And depending on the volume, how many requests your firm sees per week or per month, we can start to work on the rates. So standard rates per minute are about $3.50 for on-demand phone. That means you pick up the phone and you call, you get an interpreter. So very, very affordable. If there is a higher volume, of course, that rate can be negotiated. And as well, for scheduled interpreting, the rate actually drops by about 25%, and that's for if you schedule an interpreter in advance, and it ends up being close to the same rate as you would for you would hire an in-person interpreter for scheduled over the phone and video.
Yes, so on that note, as promised, all of you are getting $50 credit, right?
Yep. You bet.
So what's going to happen after this is you'll receive an email from myself. I'll have Michael's details on there as well. We'll advise you of your credit. It is in our system, so you're welcome to use it at any time, or anybody in your firm is able to use it. You'll have our direct contact information. We'd love to connect with each of you individually, answer any questions you have, set up time to come into your firm, and we can give a presentation to all the people that would be using interpreting, any of those kinds of things. Sorry, just checking to see if we have any last questions here before we go ahead and end and everybody goes off to their lunch. No? Okay. Well, I hope everybody has a great afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us the chance to show you our new platform. We look forward to connecting with each of you individually. At the end of this, a little survey is going to pop up. It's 2 questions. So if you could take a second and just answer those questions, just helps us know kind of what everybody's doing. All right. So thanks again and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everyone.